Natureborn probably has one of the highest skill ceilings of any hero. It's so high I can bet that none of us really knows how to unleash her full potential. She's still kinda weak though. The amount of decisions you have to make is insane in terms of which form to use and which placement pattern to use for your minis so you can maximize the splashes from her super. And knowing the perfect mini composition for her will take us a while, so all the decks look kinda messy right now. In this video I will teach you how to use her and give you some tips about both using her and countering her. When building a deck, you need to keep in mind synergies between minis and forms. If you're gonna be focusing on using the human form, then you probably want one mini with a super that is able to absolutely carry the whole match and like 1 to 2 tanks that can support well with their super. The reason being, Natureborn does not heal herself, so you need to have a mini that is constantly beside her to get the heal on her as well. A great example is Electro Wizard and Mega Knight plus Guard. You might be wondering, why Guard? Wasn't he always trash? Well, technically yes, but like after the update, now healing doesn't heal the shield, but instead it heals the original HP. So that kinda gives him a nice synergy with Natureborn. But for some reason, the energy doesn't increase when he gets overhealed while his shield is up, which could be a small glitch or could be intended so he doesn't like have infinite shields. The reason you don't want to use multiple ranged minis is because then your front line will be left with no support from your Natureborn, since your Natureborn will just target the closest 2 minis, which both are basically right beside her. But if you are using the witch with her, then I would suggest that you use 2 ranged supports because the skeletons don't really need any healing from your Natureborn. For Deer form, if you want full potential of the buff, you need a solo carry tank with a bunch of ranged minis placed in a way that would splash them all. I mean, Valkyrie seems good on paper because the attack buff and the heal can help her sustain and trigger her own heal more frequently. But because Gear form is kind of bugged and it only gives a 2-second attack buff instead of 6, it's kinda difficult to know what works with it because it's very underwhelming and weak. P.E.K.K.A could also be a decent tank option, or even Mega Knight, but ultimately we can't tell for sure 100% again because the Deer form kinda sucks and no one really uses it because of this bug. For ranged minis, I think going with Dart Goblin is a no-brainer. And just like the human form, having 2 tanks will leave your ranged minis unsupported, so you wanna go with 1 tank or maybe just go full tank. If you wanna go with a mixed versatile play style where you use both forms, then you kinda wanna have a deck like this, where you can comfortably switch between forms mid-match. Let me explain with a bunch of examples. Deer form in this deck can have a solo upgrade mini P.E.K.K.A or Golden Giant depending on your matchup, and at the same time it can upgrade your Musketeer and Healing Ranger while making sure both of them get the buff. On a human form, you can upgrade your Musketeer and Golden Giant so the energy benefits both of them, and feel free to have a mini P.E.K.K.A around the Golden Giant because he will get healed too as a bonus. You can also go with both ranged minis and the human form to spam their supers, and that's where Giant Skeleton comes into play as he doesn't need any support. I mean, you kinda want him dead. Now that we're done with basics, here is some tips. The miner can be very frustrating to go against, and while Natureborn does retarget onto him after her super and deal so much damage with her fast attack speed, in most cases he would dissipate her, preventing that from happening. There's multiple solutions to this. First one is Electro Wizard's 2nd star ability, because it charges half of her super and half of his super, giving her enough time to fill up and retarget on the miner. Or you can use the Musketeer's 2nd star because it allows her to stun the miner right when he pops out of the ground, against which most of the time your deck doesn't deal enough DPS to take out skeletons, unless you're using Bowler. But a maxed out Natureborn has 17 HP, while a 3-star Witch got 15 HP. So basically what I'm trying to say is, playing for the timeout while fully protecting your Natureborn is a viable strategy against the Witch. Against Archer, if you have a battle healer on your team, then place her in the corner like this. This allows the battle healer to tank Archer shots and heal your Natureborn back, and maybe even give her a shield which helps trigger overheal a bit more often. Now let me tell you how to counter her exactly. Dart Goblin is a great counter, but their deck kinda changes how effective he is. If the Natureborn player uses Fisherman or Bowler, it's kinda hard to get Dart Goblin value. If they're using E-Wiz, it's a 50-50. If they're using Witch or Musketeer, then it's a free win for the Dart Goblin. Countess destroys every single Natureborn strategy except the Witch one. Wizard with the anti-heal connecting once can ruin your entire match. Shield Maiden heal spam can time out all Natureborn decks except Mega Knight once. That's giving you 3-star your Mega Knight. Fisherman can potentially ruin the entire match, basically just like he does to every ranged mini. Archer is just so stupid to go against. She can melt your Natureborn completely if you're not using Healing Ranger or Battle Hero to further heal your Natureborn even more. Although I don't see that happening quite often, but if you manage to get your Ice Wizard to connect on Natureborn once, that can destroy how fast she gains energy. With all that being said, I still feel like we don't fully understand Natureborn, so there's a lot more to learn over time. And also, that deer form needs a buff. Anyways, we'll keep testing, and comment down below if you have any tips you want to share.